targeting MAGA supporters.
Right, and I think that it's imperative that we start to define what they mean when they say MAGA agenda. What does that actually mean? What does that look like? Does that mean lower crime? Does that mean actually secure borders? Does that mean a better economy? Because why would you, maybe he is raging against the machine if that's what he's actually asking for.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you know, that song, the original song, was actually a post 9/11 song because the band at the time was upset about what was happening overseas in the Iraq War and all that. But you know, they're probably their biggest hit, right? But now to change it to just continue to make it political, you know, you're just alienating people.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and the band Green Day performed on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, and lead singer Billy Joe Armstrong changed a couple of words to a song. This has turned the MAGA world upside down. The group's 2004 hit American Idiot was written during George W. Bush's presidency. Armstrong was reported to have written the song about the Iraq War. During the New Year's Eve show, Armstrong changed the words from "I'm not part of a redneck agenda" to "I'm not part of the MAGA agenda." Green Day and other bands like U2 have often mixed a political message at concerts. U2's frontman Bono used to call the White House when he was on stage and would ask for President Bush. Political messaging at concerts is nothing new. Take the 60s, for example. Much of that generation's music was influenced by the Vietnam War and domestic issues at the time. The Woodwork Festival attracted over 400,000 people. 32 acts performed at a 3-day peace and love event that has become a symbol of the anti-establishment subculture. A band like Green Day would have somewhat fit in at that event. When you think about it, bands like Rage Against the Machine and Taylor Swift probably would have too.
By sending that can to the trans kid, you kind of signaled to us you support this lifestyle, and more importantly, like men being in women's sports or in my granddaughter's locker room. Most of us draw a hard line right there. Nah. What are you doing?
You have a granddaughter. You're like 40,
2 grandkids.
You're like 42 years old. Well, go ahead.
It gets cold in Detroit, Sean.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Clowns like Kid Rock and Ted Nugent would have been booed off the stage. Their hate-filled, hypocritical attacks on the LGBTQ community, alongside their poor taste in clothing, would have raised red flags with everyone in attendance. So what are clowns like Kid Rock and Ted Nugent so mad about? Another artist changed the lyrics to a song to reflect the mood of a lot of people? I'm not part of the MAGA agenda. What's so offensive about that? In today's musical world, there are many entertainers. Some try to separate themselves from the pack by incorporating outrageous antics on or off stage. Washed-up rock stars like Kid Rock and Ted Nugent are trying to stay relevant and prolong their careers. They have joined the MAGA movement, which caters towards the undereducated. These are the same people that Donald Trump relates to on a third-grade level. Performers like Rock and Nugent resonate with these jackaloons because they are stupid and lazy. The Trump faithful don't fact-check, and this makes it easier for conmen like Rock and Nugent to milk these people for donations. I wanted to see for myself what artists like Green Day and Taylor Swift do for charity causes. I Googled what good has Taylor Swift, Green Day, and Kid Rock done. Online sources show Green Day donating to charities like Amnesty International, Artists for Peace and Justice, and Children with Leukemia. If you look at Swift's donation practices, you will find an approach to giving that is deeply personal. This approach transcends political divides and touches lives. Her support of friends, cancer patients, sexual assault survivors, disaster relief organizations, and food banks on her Eras tour made a difference in the lives of many people. Republicans are on the attack because Taylor Swift and other artists have power to affect the presidential election. This is the bottom line with GOP attacks on so-called liberal artists. They are afraid of people having a voice and an opinion that doesn't support the Republican agenda. They want to stop the spread of common sense and dignity. Kid Rock and Ted Nugent are a couple of do-as-I-say, not-as-I-do jackaloons. While Kid Rock was shooting up cases of Bud Light, pictures were surfacing of him drinking Bud Light with the drag queen. Ted Nugent isn't any better. He will always be remembered as a yellow-bellied coward. These two are the bottom of the barrel, and that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.